Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Advocacy Life podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever it is for you, I hope it's good. I've always said that disability cannot and will not ever have political parties to succeed. It only has champions. What does that mean in a practical level? What does that mean in real life? What does that mean to you? What does it mean to you? That's what we're going to talk about today on the Advocacy Life podcast. See you soon. Hello. My name is Nuñez, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Advocacy Life podcast and blog. This, of course, is the podcast. Disability and death are the only two certainties in life. There is a misconception in our world that disability will not affect everyone, when the fact is it's the opposite. It affects all of us. So let's bridge those gaps together in a fun, conversational style. Thanks for your time, and hope you enjoyed the episode. Hello again. For this week's fun fact, before we get to the big topic of disability and the importance of non-partisanship, my fun fact is that my first kiss was in the back of a car. It's summertime, things are warming up outside. I hope it's a nice day when you're hearing this, but I wanted to go 30 seconds on my first kiss just because it's a good little fun little story. So I was 13. My girlfriend at the time was able-bodied, which means she did not have a disability. Usually a regular person would go with an older brother or a trusted, uncle or something on their first date. Of course, I have my dad. I have an awesome brother, but he can't drive. We both have the same disability. So, at the end of the night, we went to a local independent baseball squad game. Although, now they're a AA affiliate for the Yankees, but they were independent at the time. After the game, she gets in the van. We kiss in the back of the van. That's the Cliff Notes version. Hope you guys have a good chuckle at that. What made it funny is, of course, my brother was right there next to me in the van. So as I'm kissing, he's laughing hysterically. So that's the fun fact for the episode. Now, today's big topic is the importance of disability and non-partisanship. Recently I attended, recently for me, not for you, the Disability Policy Seminar. It is an annual event hosted by the ARC of the United States and partnered with several other organizations to educate those with disabilities on the major issues, so then we can present them to legislative staff in our states and in our districts. I, of course, went with the New Jersey Council on Developmental Disabilities, NJCDD. This podcast is not a reflection of them in any way. I'm not going to go into their policies or procedures or anything like that. These are just my reflections of the 3 Hill visits I arranged with the New Jersey Council on Developmental Disabilities. The 3 members of Congress we were scheduled to meet with were Congressman Herb Conway, representing the Burlington County District from New Jersey, Senator Andy Kim from one of the 2 U.S. senators for the lovely state of New Jersey, and Congressman Van Drew representing the Atlantic County area of New Jersey. I will say from the beginning that I was unable to attend the meeting with Congressman Herb Conway, as there was a conflict in schedules, because if you've ever been to Washington, D.C., Congress is on one side and the Senate is on the other. I was to take the lead on the Senate side, so I could not be in two places at once. The meetings were scheduled too close together for me to be in two places at once. I did meet with Conway's staff months earlier, before the passage of the H.R. 1, otherwise known as the One Big Beautiful Bill, back in 2025. Ironically, I met with his staff the day before the bill was passed. I will tell you about that interaction. Obviously, I cannot tell you about the one in D.C., because I did not attend that. So I went to Congressman Conway's New Jersey office, again in late 2025, the day before the passage of H.R. 1. I had never met with his staff before. This was done just so I could raise awareness on key issues. I feel it's very important to talk about these kind of visits because they don't always go your way. What I mean by that is, you can't assume that a legislative staff, a legislator, will actually know the issue. This is a sad truth that we have to realize. No one understands the concept of the disability unless they live with themselves or are affected by a direct family member. So you can't assume people understand the issues. And this is important to know for legislative visits. First of all, when you go there, have respect for our country. I've met with legislators on both sides of the political aisle. I guarantee you I cannot agree with everything everyone ever said. That's just not going to happen. So, you dress to impress, if you can. If you can, obviously don't go in pajamas and a sweatshirt. Go there to make a statement. Go there to show that you're serious. You don't do it for them, because they serve you. They represent you as a person, as an individual, as an agency, if you are permitted to go with an agency. So when I went to his office, again, I had made the appointments about a week before. His office in New Jersey was close to where I live. Drove on down there. I went to his office. I announced myself to the secretary, and his secretary had no idea who I was. Well, she knew that the chief of staff that I was scheduled a meeting with had a meeting with someone, but she didn't know it was me directly. So it turns out I was sent to the wrong office. They mixed up the addresses. I was given the wrong one. So I had the meeting in his office using an office computer that was there in his office from one of his staff. It was basically a Zoom call. I got dressed up to go on a Zoom call. I know it's very silly and some would even say unprofessional. But as we know with disabilities, we have to adapt. We're always constantly adapting to our different environments. This was just another occasion of doing that. Was it the best visit? I'll be honest and say no, because this particular staffer really didn't know much of anything about the disability structure, the disability needs. So there was a lot of education that took place after that visit. But the initial visit was not probably the most favorable for either of us. As he said, he didn't know what he didn't know. So, while I've never met the congressman directly, I worked with his staff for a few months now, and his staff is learning and willing to grow. Don't assume just because they don't know something, that doesn't mean they're against you, especially in our field. In our field, programs are always constantly changing and evolving, so it's difficult to adjust to new surroundings. It's difficult for them to stay up to date on all the goings on. So that's why education is so important when you meet with legislators. And very, very, very rarely will you meet with the actual legislator directly. Let me get to that, my second visit. On the day of the Disability Policy Seminar. Now we're back in D.C. This is back, for me, it was back in March of 2026. So, as you know, I've said before on this podcast, I had the honor and the absolute privilege of meeting with Senator Andy Kim. I was his guest of honor at the 2025 joint session of Congress. For those of you who don't know, for whatever reason, the first State of the Union by any president is never called the State of the Union. It is called a joint session of Congress. Why this is a whole other can of worms we're just not getting into. The point is, I know his staff very well because we arranged this whole day. I did press on that day. I met him directly. I did a whole thing on, Medicaid awareness and disability awareness and home and community-based services. I will post a link to that podcast episode of the State of the Union in the show notes. So as a result, I was able to meet with, once again, my friend. At this point, we are friends. Senator Andy Kim. We had a very nice, polite visit. It was warm, welcoming. He is a New Jersey senator, so as a result, he has a New Jersey diner booth in his office, which is always a very nice touch, because we're Jersey and we have diners. So it was a very homey, welcoming feel. On a personal note, as most of you know who follow my podcast, my little sister had passed away very late in 2024. And it was a very difficult blow to my family. So when I got off the elevator to go to Senator Andy Kim's office, his staff, who I've become quite friendly with over the last year, glory to God, not to me, just because we work on various issues over the years, they gave me what I call sister hugs. So, as you know, if you have a real disability, sometimes our best advocates are our siblings, because they just see you for you. And that was the hug they gave me, including the senator. The senator also gave me a very warm embrace. But his two staff that I worked with to set up last year's joint session of Congress, and also to set up the visit in March of 2026, again, it was a lot of emails back and forth. So the fact that they had the confidence and the trust to basically break down protocol and give me a hug just showed a total human side to their efforts. So often when we talk to legislators, we feel as if they're not hearing us, they're not seeing us. As I can tell you, Senator Andy Kim is a disability champion. He fights for us. I know I probably don't agree with a lot of other policies that he has endorsed. I'm sure if he asked me as a person, we'd have policies that he doesn't agree that I agree with. That's human nature. But there are some things on a human level we can agree on. And that's what America should be. My last Hill visit was with Congressman Van Drew, a Republican, because when I set up legislative visits, I always make sure, or any kind of legislative event, I invite people from both political parties, because disability cannot succeed if we align ourselves with one political party. We just won't. Disability is a human factor. It is part of the human society. It is part of the human experience. It is not evil. It is not a burden. It is not a punishment. It's simply another facet of life. Like skin color, like race, like sexuality. It just is part of human life. I met with Congressman Van Drew's staff. Also very warm, also very inviting. Obviously, no hugs there, because I never met with his staff before. His staff was very welcoming, like I said, very knowledgeable. I was surprised how knowledgeable his staff was. They took a lot of notes. Always pay attention to the notes the staffers take. If they take more notes, it means that they're really, really interested in what you're saying. Make your points clear. Make your points concise. Answer questions. Tell your stories. Your stories matter. That's how they connect. No story, you will be forgotten about. If you go there just saying facts and numbers, it'll stand out for a little bit. But if you want your issue, whatever your issue is, to go beyond a simple hour meeting, if you want to be remembered, so they go back to you over and over again, tell your story. Have them connect to your story. That's what I did. So those are my experiences with legislators at the 2026 Disability Policy Seminar. I hope this helped you when you plan to make legislative visits. One of the biggest issues I have with America in general, people complain about Congress or legislators in general, but they never actually do anything about it, when the whole point is to hold their elected officials accountable. And we're not, because we're too busy watching American Idol and scrolling on TikTok. So, don't scroll. Plan a legislative visit. Write an email. They're willing to meet with you. I promise. But, again, if they don't know you, they won't take your issue. Hope this helped. Talk to you soon. Leave some comments down below. I hope you enjoy my fun fact, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Wow, you guys, what a great episode that was. At least for me. Was it for you? If you liked it, please do me a favor. Click the like, click the subscribe. It takes you 2 seconds, and it really, really helps me out. Second, please share this and tell a friend. If you want more content, I've got a free blog that comes out once a week on Wednesdays, starting in January. And you want more content, I published 2 books called Living Beyond Disability. It's a book series on Amazon. Check them out. They're all in the description below. If you want more content, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Thread, all that good stuff. They're all in the description below. I've got a PayPal and a Cash App if you want to donate directly. No big deal, just if you want to support. Thank you guys for all the help. Keep on rolling. Keep on living.